And welcome back, everybody, to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you even get a beer, get over to Fatty Beer. Let them know that we sent you over here from Two Goalies, One Mike. This is just the Mango Wheat. It's one of my favorites on tap. Or if you're a foodie, give their chicken sandwich a try. Very, very, very good with the fatty sauce. And shout out to our sponsors at Extreme Discount Mattress, with Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds, featuring cool gel and memory foam, two-sided mattresses, Tele Latex, organic mattress, Chatham and Wells, and of course Scott Living, all for 1/3 to a half the supposed sale prices anywhere. So stop in any of their 7 locations across Western New York, or check out their website, extrememattress.com. There's Extreme with an X. If you're looking for even more savings, check out the new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga. Save a fortune on one-of-a-kinds, closeouts, and floor samples. Get a quality mattress for literally pennies on the dollar. Extreme Discount Mattress. We sell mattresses for less, a lot less. And don't forget, mention that you're a fan of Two Goalies with Mike. Get yourself a free mattress protector with any purchase of a mattress. And I'd be remiss not to mention Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York, located at 5087 Broadway, Suite 100 in Depew. 5-star facility, 5-star staff. They have it all over there. It looks so small on the outside, but it's big on the inside. Whether you're get hurt at work, on the ice, on the field, maybe you're just looking for sports testing. You're trying to impress that scout so they know your metrics. Get over to Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York in Depew. Again, they're helping me get back on the ice myself. My journey back from a very traumatic injury last February, almost a year ago, next week. So check them out. Again, Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York. Hurls, Sabres take 3 points in the Sunbelt. Obviously, you want to get that one in the garage, as the Bulldog would say. But you get 3 points. You give up the Radish, the game-tying goal, the Radish, who just unleashed a cannon from the point. That was his 17th goal of the season, which he's a UFA this offseason. That guy's going to get a huge payday. But all in all, man, you went toe-to-toe with one of the league's best, if not the league's best, tonight.
Yeah, I think all of us, especially coming off the comeback win last night, would have taken a point out of this game, no matter how it happened. Sight unseen, you take a point out of this game. And against a team that's gone 17-1-1 in their last 19 games leading into this, I think that's a pretty good result with your backup goalie, who, mind you, played off his ass tonight. I think he can be chaotic at times, but I don't think a lot of the goals are on him, especially not the tying goal. Darren Radish has made a living out of that exact shot, that exact play this season. He's got one of the best one-timers in the league, not named Tage Thompson, and they prioritize and use it really well on their power play, especially in that spot. So you keep your chin up on that one if you're Colton Ellis, and I think he has a team. They battled. They're obviously pretty injured. Losing Zach Benson last night, of course, doesn't help. But yeah, of course you want to get into the garage, but at the end of the day, I think you live with that result. You go home to Pittsburgh and you win a game at home before the Olympic break.
I do want to point this out from the Buffalonian. Refs definitely probably could have called 2 penalties. How about the holding the stick on Dahlin behind the play before the game-winning goal? Like he wouldn't let him get away. Like
So a few trips, a few interferences.
Was a trip on McLeod, or was it Quinn? Would have been Quinn.
I think it was Quinn. Yeah, Quinn does fall a lot, but I do think he got tripped. Also, the quick whistle on Vasilevsky, combined with the fact that Dahlin got slashed, and that's the reason he missed the net.
Dude, he got hacked.
They just put the whistles away. I think that happened a lot during the game, not only tonight, but last night as well. I saw a few people talking about how the NHL prioritizes Florida teams for some reason doing well. I don't get it, because if there were real fans in Tampa Bay, they would have booed the Sabres when they regrouped in overtime in 3-on-3, like real hockey fans do. They don't know enough about the game to boo in that situation. So that tells you all you need to know. I think that, it was pretty brutal in overtime, especially. I saw a lot of people talking about that, and I was screaming at the TV.
How did you feel about the lineup choice for overtime, not getting Josh Doan out there? I mean, Jack Quinn, I mean, he doesn't really play with much speed. I know he has hands and he's good in
And
open space, but
he's prone to turn it over too.
yeah, man, I did not agree with it at all.
Which in overtime is a death sentence.
Yes.
And he wasn't the reason they lost, but
I think you're frozen, bud.
especially in open space with his vision and his ability to create plays, I would have preferred that. Alex Tuck taking the draw. I don't know if somebody got thrown out right before that, but I thought that was a strange choice. And on the game-winning goal, I said it. Maybe it's just the goalie in me. When there's a odd man rush situation going in your favor offensively, I always, especially in beer league, obviously yell at the final guy back to stay back and to watch your back, because guys, especially in beer league, have the tendency to cherry pick. And that's exactly what Gensel was doing. He was waiting for that exact moment, and he had the best guy in the world to have eyes in the back of his head in Nikita Kucherov and throw one of the nicest passes I've seen in a long time.
And what bugged me about that too is like he fanned on the first one, and Krebs saw, like, I don't understand, like Krebs realized he knew Gensel was going the other way. He knew he was there, and like even if you think you have possession down low, you just cannot assume it. You can't. You have to acknowledge the fact that guy is back there, and you have to go with him. At worst, it's 2-on-2 in the offensive zone, and you're taking your man Gensel going the other way. He's not just going that way, bailing on his teammates, hoping for an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go with him. You have to.
Just screaming at the TV to get back, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, they did not. But, yeah, I think their overtime play is early in the season. It was pretty bad. They had a few overtime losses. I think it was in October or early November, and they cleaned it up a little bit, and they've gotten to 3 shootouts, and they've won all 3 shootouts. I don't know how it would have gone with Vasilevsky versus Colton Ellis tonight. Either way, got to clean a few things up, obviously, but that's a really, really good team. Of course, they're banged up as well, and when the Sabres have played this well for so long, you don't like to have moral victories, but if there was one to take tonight, I think it's 3 out of 4 on the trip, no matter how you got it. And hopefully Zach Benson is, from what we hear, the injury is not as serious as they initially thought. They're going to go get a second opinion back in Buffalo, and you can heal up after the Olympic break. But all in all, I think it's completely fine. I really do.
Yep. And, you know, our very own Alex Peters from Impulse Physical Therapy, he gave his breakdown in a short, like minute long video last night after the Benson injury. And he said, you know, and I don't know all the medical jargon he gave, but he flat out said, you know, this could be a week-to-week thing. It doesn't sound like surgery is going to be necessary at all for this. It looked bad when it happened for sure. But, you know, he said this could be a week-to-week thing, which honestly, I mean, if you're going to get hurt for week to week, why not have it happen now? You know, you're about to get off.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I saw the caption on the video they made yesterday that he could be out for a few weeks. What better time with the only 3-week off period in the past 12 years to potentially have a 3 or 4 week long injury, especially one that would just requires rest and requires rehabilitation, which he'll get during that time. I personally think he should have been on Team Canada. No, I'm just kidding. But either way, yeah, definitely a good time for that to happen. I think Josh Norris definitely doesn't play on Thursday. They can't afford for him to get hurt in the final game before the Olympic break. Heal up. Obviously, it's a big game, but it's not as big of a game as a game against the Atlantic would be. So I do think they'll rest guys that have some bumps and bruises and hopefully do their best to win the game on Thursday with Alex Lyon in net.
Yeah, against a very red-hot Pittsburgh team right now, like playing way above expectation for them coming into this season.
Which, according to the broadcast, is the best story in sports. There's no
bigger story than the Buffalo Sabres right now.
No. The ESPN Plus broadcast said the Penguins this season were the best story in sports.
Well, that's why. Why people.
There were a lot of issues on the broadcast tonight.
Michael Samuelsson, that was a good one.
There was a graphic that you tweeted that a guy sent to me. 17 points in 2 games for Dahlin. I think.
Oh my God.
Someone else mentioned that generally they were just kind of like treating it like a podcast rather than calling a game. I like Bob Wischusen, but I really think he was kind of distracted tonight for some reason. Yeah, I never really liked the ESPN Plus broadcast. The best one that's happened this season was when Eric Johnson was on it earlier in the year.
Eric Johnson's fantastic, man.
I thought he was great. I saw he was getting chirped the other day. I forget, it was a former teammate. I think it was on the Avs for getting a spray tan when he was the ringside reporter. That was pretty funny. But yeah, no, it was a really, really brutal broadcast tonight. I'm sure I talked about it a little bit, and I think people agreed with me, but it was really, really bad.
Yeah, that was a tough look for ESPN. I mean, Michael Samuelson. What are we even talking about right now? It's Michael Samuelson, brother of Matthias Samuelson.
He said it. He said it like 4 times too.
Dude, like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
He might have been confusing with Michael Kesselring, but yeah, it was. I don't know, man. Really, really. And like from Ray Ferraro too, like an OG of the broadcasting game, especially on ESPN from back in the day, and a really respected NHL player. He obviously knows a lot of guys. I was surprised that came from him, to be honest, but it is what it is. Nobody's perfect.
No, definitely not. And Bucci's been on the show with us too. I enjoy his content, put it that way. In terms of, like, to your point, when they call games, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I think he's not necessarily a tried and true play-by-play guy either. They have him do it out of necessity, and he knows the game. He's around the game as much as anybody. So I think he's a good break glass in case of emergency type guy. But no, I actually like Wischusen as a play-by-play guy. I just think in the grand scheme of the broadcast, whether it was the producing or whatever was involved with it, I don't think it was great tonight. But back to the game, numbers aside from the shots, pretty similar. Faceoffs dead even again, so I think that's a pretty good sign. I think McLeod was particularly good. If I have to go back and check, I just remember him winning a few draws. But yeah, no, it's something to work out. He was 9 and 10, so a little under 50%, which is not horrible. 5 and 5, 4 and 4. So they're not getting blown out, at least the past couple games, which is a good sign. But hopefully they can clean that up over the break.
Yep. Yep. Oh my God, Michael Sam was in for about 45 minutes of coverage. Oh, he's taking over that. I mean, I guess we talked a little about Colton Ellis. Great game from him tonight. Like you said, a little erratic. I don't think either of us are fans of his style, right? Like, it's like we're not fans of his style, but he gets the job done. If he could tighten up that rebound control, I think, I feel a lot more safe as him, like, being a permanent backup in Buffalo behind Alex Lyon.
For sure. I think, yeah, technically he's not by any means textbook, but as we mentioned before, he battles. And at the end of the day, as Dominic Hasek taught us, whatever you need to do to get in front of the puck. Obviously, the rebound control needs to be a little bit better. I think his positioning, he loses his stick a lot. Early in the first period, he lost his stick, and as he was going to grab it, I think the Lightning player shot it on net, knowing that he was going to grab it, and he still made the save, and then made a glove save on Kucherov shortly after that. I thought that was very impressive. He plays a little bit like a beer league goalie, which is, not necessarily the most sound strategy in the National Hockey League, but I do think that his athleticism and the way he reads the play makes up for it. He's constantly tracking the puck. I think he finds the puck really well, especially in these chaotic situations, which is absolutely necessary when you play the way he does. He's basically the antithesis of Andrei Vasilevsky, who, in my opinion, let in some weak goals tonight. He definitely wasn't at his best. If you let Michael Samuelson snipe you twice in one game, you're definitely not necessarily on your game. So I think that was fortunate. But yeah, all in all, really, really good game from Colton Ellis. I'd be interested to see the high danger chances and the goals saved above expected. I imagine the numbers are pretty good.
You see on the one rebound goal, he like tried to make an old school like kick, like skate save, like as the way he reacted. I was like, what's even if he would have tried to save that like properly, like it wouldn't have mattered. But I was just
probably the Bjorkstrand goal right in front of the net.
Yeah, right in front of the net, like right out. I'm like, whoa, like that's like some fucking, I don't know, Tretiak shit from back in the day, or Brodeur shit. Even it was the last time I saw a goalie try to make a save like that with the toe of his skate pointed to the sky. Hopefully we get Josh Norris. I mean, it would have been nice to have Josh Norris today. From his interview from the other day, it's kind of sounded like he was trending to play in it, before the Olympic break. He says, when my body feels ready, then I'm ready to go. And he sounded very optimistic about playing, but I don't know, maybe we see him Thursday. It'd be nice given the injury to Benson. Hopefully, it's whatever's going on with Benson. Obviously, it's a shoulder thing. It doesn't go beyond the Olympic break, because we're getting into the home stretch here. And did you see how many scouts were at the game tonight?
I did not. Did they show that on the broadcast?
10 or 12 scouts at the game tonight.
Scouts, man.
Yeah, like scouts. A lot of teams.
You get that reference? Mighty Ducks, Adam Banks? Scouts, man.
Scouts, man. Oh, scouts yeah, everywhere. There it is. There it is. I'll pull up the list real quick here. Hold on. But let me see if I can find. I think I might have retweeted it out, but decent showing at the game tonight, scouts wise. But here we go. Representatives from 10 different NHL teams at the arena tonight for Lightning Sabres. 12 if you count Tampa and Buffalo. Damn near half the league. Moves are a coming. This is from Jay Retcher. I'm not sure what platform he works with, but Florida, Pittsburgh, Washington, Montreal, Rangers, Anaheim, San Jose, LA Kings, St. Louis, and Chicago all in the house tonight.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot. I mean, I'm not sure who they're here to see. And I will say Bucci said on the post-game show before we came and went live, he said that it is hard to look at this Sabres team and want to trade anybody right now.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been talking about. You don't mess up the feeling in the room. And yeah, even Alex Tuck and guys that you potentially could lose for nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would, but if the right offer comes along, you have to consider it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just nice to see that, there's not going to be any more of this talk about no trade clauses anymore, because the Sabres have arrived. I think tonight, is a linchpin moment for this team, where it's you just skated with one of the best teams in the league. Yeah, they didn't have Braden Point. They were banged up, but so are we. We don't have Josh Norris. We don't have Zach Benson, two of our more important players. You took it to them, and you led for a lot of this game. You led 2-1, and you led 3-2. Yeah, you let them crawl back, but again, you had your backup goaltender go head to head with one of arguably the best, if not the best, goalie in the world right now, and you came out with a point, and you were 25 seconds away from winning. So yeah, man, even Bucci said, I'm hard pressed to want to trade this roster for mostly any other roster in the league right now.
Even Matthew Tkachuk said it after the game last night.
Yeah,
the Sabres outclassed them in terms of skill. Not only just better, but they had far more skill than the defending 2-time Stanley Cup champions, who, yes, are banged up, but that says a lot. I think the team has been built in the right way, and guys are producing at the rate that they're supposed to, and we've been waiting for a long time, obviously. I mean, look at a guy like Mattias Samuelsson, the best offensive season of his career combined with the best defensive season of his career.
He's a plus 30, a plus 30.
Shot, yeah. So you're getting inordinate performances, but also I think they're somewhat expected with their development and their developmental plan for where they are relative to the league. So yeah, no, I wouldn't either. And I think that momentum and chemistry is a big thing. You talk about chemistry amongst teams all the time, and the feeling in the room and how guys feel about each other. And I think this group is as good as we've had it in a long time. And I think you'd be hard pressed to change something, get somebody upset, and mess up what they've built in the past 2 months now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm going to kick it back to our sponsors again real quick. Shout out again to Fatty.
I got to bounce.
Company. Oh, yep. He's got to get out of here. You got a game, right?
Yeah.
So
Peace.
Thanks for hopping on, Hurls. Yep. So there we go. Shout out again to Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, get over to Fatty Beer. Let them know we sent you over here. 2 goalies, 1 mic. Of course, I reminisce not to mention Extreme Discount Mattress. If you need a quality mattress for literally pennies on the dollar, get over to Extreme Discount Mattress. You can find them at their website, extrememattress.com. That is extreme with an X. They have 7 different Western New York locations. They have a new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue, where you can get a great deal, up to 80% off floor models, closeouts, and one-of-a-kinds. Again, I'm sleeping on a mattress I got from Extreme Discount Mattress, and I've never slept better. One thing you need to take care of in life, it is your back, your neck, all the essential parts of your body. And the most important way to do that is to have a quality mattress, one of which you can get from Extreme Discount Mattress. And of course, as always, Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York. It's time to ditch the physical therapy clinics that treat you like you are just another number and step into a world where you're at the center of your care. Impulse is owned by Buffalo's only board-certified sports physical therapist. We work one-on-one with science-backed technology like 3D motion analysts and force plates to help you exceed your goals and become the healthiest, strongest version of yourself. So please come experience the Impulse difference today and mention this for a discounted $77 assessment. So shout out again to Fatty Beer Company, Extreme Discount Mattress, and as you see there, Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York, located at 5087 Broadway, Suite 100 in Depew, right next to Catalyst Fitness, which is also next to D&L Plaza. Again, thank you to our sponsors. We're going to go to the locker room. If hopefully there are quotes for after this game. Sometimes on the away games, they don't always come in on time. Ruff says the Atlantic Division is so tough. Every game is a tight game. Says they have to find a way to close it out. Says there was an opportunity to get 4 points on this trip. Ruff said Ellis played a great game for us. Also, more from Ruff. It was a heck of an effort. Says they didn't have a lot of energy with a back-to-back games, but got some energy late. Says they had a chance to win an OT with Dahling and Thompson coming in. Samuelson said he tried to use the D-man as a screen, and it worked well. Samuelson says shooting the puck and playing confidently has helped his offensive success. Ellis on getting 3 of 4 points says they are 2 really good teams that they faced. Happy to a certain extent, but it's the way they lost the point tonight that is tough. Ellis says he probably could have been just a little more composed on the game tying goal. Keep his edges a little more. Ellis, I think obviously it's disappointing in terms of the outcome. In terms of my game, I felt pretty good. Says the East is so tight. You take any point you can get. Josh Stone said Ellis was really good and says that's on us. Says he deserved a win tonight. Stone says they're trying to get a Stone says he was trying to get big on the back post, and Thompson threw it there where he can get to it and score that late goal. Yep, and that's it from the locker room. Yeah, a lot. Again, Colton Ellis, as erratic as he can be, I think, fans, myself included, Connor included, be a lot happier if he had a little bit more control over the rebounds. But, Ellis played a great game tonight. This was not on him. Peyton Krebs, for sure, that game-winning goal was on him. He just can't let Gensel get behind you. You just can't. You got to be aware of who's out there with you. At worst, if you go with him, even if Kucherov doesn't get possession and Dahling does in that situation, it's 2-on-2 in the offensive zone. All right, then you rejoin the play. You still have a step on Gensel coming back into the offensive zone. You just cannot allow your man to get away from you there, and that's a big game, potentially costing you the game mistake. It cost you the game, and there's no guarantee you would have came back and won, but it did. It cost you the game tonight, regardless. And obviously he had the mistakes last game, but he made up for them. I think last night was one of his better games as a Sabres. From Brady Bunch, I don't blame Krebs for that last goal. 26 stripped 2 guys, had no leverage and would have needed that outlet. If anything, he could have made himself cut off, man-centered himself and blocked that pass. I don't know, man. I think I just need Krebs to be just aware and just go with him. I get what you're saying, but that's Kucherov is top 5 player in the world. He puts that step puck on a string every single time. You just got to be aware of who's out there with you. We can agree to disagree on that one. From Lawrence, welcome to the chat too. Turnovers are killing the Sabres. I agree. And giving up the amount of shots they are in the third periods this year, as they brought it up in the broadcast, is also killing them. You can't always depend on your goalies to play at this level every single time. The power play has looked a little bit better. I thought that power play they had where they scored very late was the Doan goal. I thought that was one of the best power play performances from that unit I've seen all season. There was a lot of transition. There was a lot of movement, good passing. After they finally settled in, it took them into the settle in. But the last minute and a half of that power play, I thought looked fantastic, and they were rewarded with a goal. So the power play has looked a little bit better over the past few games. Yeah, and I have to, if you just got to be able to find ways to keep performing like that on the power play, because once you do get to the playoffs again, that P word, those power plays become very few and far between. Like, they put the whistles away, much like they did in overtime tonight. And you might see one power play an entire game. You might see one penalty called an entire game in the playoffs. So you have to be able to keep taking an advantage when you do get those chances. And I thought that was a good step in the right direction. Again, that was probably one of the best, again, a minute and a half out of the 2-minute penalty that we've seen from them this season. Again, a lot of movement. Everybody was moving their feet. Transition was good. Passing was great. They were getting good looks at the net, not afraid to shoot. There was one point where they were shooting intentionally for a rebound, which I love that stuff. Love that stuff. So pick up where you left off, keep heading in the right direction. And again, 3 out of 4 points against the two teams you just played is not bad. Dahlian honestly should have had that OT in the bag. The almost breakaway as the Tampa Bay defender gave him a full path to the goalie. And he just missed the net. Or again, like Hurls said earlier, how about him blowing the whistle as early as they did when Vasilevsky tried to get it? He threw it right to Dahlian's stick, and that's in the back of the net. If he doesn't get fucking tomahawk slashed with that stick, which also should have been a penalty. So, but that's all I got for tonight, guys. Again, I'm encouraged getting 3 out of 4 points in Florida. Tampa Bay is, again, right next to the Buffalo Sabres, one of the hottest teams in the National Hockey League. I'm encouraged by the way they performed tonight, and, I want to keep seeing more of this. So if you guys have enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoy the post-game show, please, if you're audio only, follow us along on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcast. Just got to search out Two Goalies, One Mic. You can find myself on Instagram and Twitter at DuaneS39. You can find my co-host Connor Hurley at CHurls13. You can find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Two Goalies, One Mic. I know the podcast is too short. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long week, and I have a crazy early morning tomorrow. We're about a half an hour. It's not that bad. Interact with the chat more. You know what? Owen Power sucks. I try and make sure when it's difficult. Listen, it's difficult to do when I'm on my own because I'm here trying to talk to you, and then I have to work the chat too. It's difficult, but I'll stick with us. Just for you, Owen Power sucks 25. I will stick around for 5. We will go to 35 minutes just for you. Just for you. Buffalo Fanatic stays on for hours. That's great for Buffalo Fanatics. I am very happy for Buffalo Fanatics. It is 11 o'clock at night. I have to be up at 5. So I apologize if we don't go on long enough. I also record 4 to 5 times a week. So I know you're busting my balls, man. But listen, I will go to 35 minutes just for you. So quit your bitching. They have Pittsburgh on Thursday night. I will be attending that game with some work colleagues. Extremely excited. Always fun to see Sidney Crosby play. You don't know how many more of these games you have left with a guy like him. And we've been very fortunate to see him play his entire career, at least in my generation. He's been a Sabre killer over the years. So I will appreciate the fact that we get to see him play one more time live. And that Pittsburgh team has been very good this season, right? Like they've exceeded a lot of expectations. Crosby seems to be ageless. Like, that guy just does not get older. He could probably play till he's 50. If you take away the concussion history, like, he's played relatively healthy for a lot of his career. So I'm extremely excited to see them play. Obviously, they lost to the Islanders today in overtime, 5-4. The Maple Leafs and the Oilers Maple Leafs lead the Oilers 4-2 with about 10 minutes left in the third period right now. The Flyers beat the Capitals 4-2 today. Blue Jackets shut out the Devils 3-0. The Hurricanes beat the Senators 4-3 in regulation. So for those of you who are scoreboard watching, in a non-related game to having to do with the Sabres, the Ducks and the Kraken are tied at 0 at the end of 1. So, yeah, the Penguins have been a very, very, again, unexpected team to be as good as they are this season, for the lack of a better way of saying it. Let me pull up their some of their stats and numbers this season. Crosby, which I already know he's well over a point per game. 59 points in 55 games, 27 goals. You got a Evgeny Malkin with 43 points in 40 games. Surprisingly enough, plus minus, Sidney Crosby is at a 0. Malkin's at a plus 13. Anthony Mantha, 41 points in 55 games. Brian Rust, who was a big rumored guy to come to Buffalo in the offseason, 40 points in 48 games. Erik Karlsson, 35 points in 50 games. A guy who still performing at a high level, even at his age. A lot of talent still on this Pittsburgh team. Justin Brazeau, 27 points in 41 games. Just kind of going up and down the list here. Rickard Rakell, 24 points in 35 games. So yeah, there's a very talented Pittsburgh game. Stuart Skinner has played very well for them so far. Since he's come over, he's 19-12 with a 279 save percentage and an 890 or 279 goals against and an 890 save percentage. Obviously not the sexiest numbers, but he's getting wins and he's playing pretty consistently this year since that trade between Pittsburgh and the Oilers for Tristan Jarry. So I expect, given the way the Sabres are playing, you will get Stuart Skinner in nets on Thursday, but I need a win. I need a win heading into the Olympics. Stack these points. When does the roster freeze go into effect? Has that already happened? I don't know. Has the roster freeze already happened heading into the Olympics? Because again, all the scouts that were in the house tonight for Sabres versus Tampa, I have to imagine that that freeze hasn't gone into effect. Okay, so it's February 6th at 3 p.m. So in 3 days, you're gonna have essentially a trade deadline. I imagine you have all of these scouts in the house tonight because they're looking to try and get something done before the deadline, right? That's at least. Oh, tomorrow? Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow, February 4th. So I'm getting contradicting. I'm getting from Jason, February 6th at 3 p.m. And then A Barber is telling me it's tomorrow. So if somebody get confirmation on that, I would appreciate it. But regardless, you got to imagine all these scouts are in the building because they might be trying to get something done before the Olympic break. Sad to hear that, see UPL, obviously a guy who was very vocal about how much he wanted to play for Team Finland, have to take a step back and not go to Milana Cortina, for the Olympics, being replaced by Korpisalo for Team Finland. It's definitely, I feel for him, but you got to get healthy, right? At the end of the day, this is your team. You want to represent your nation, but this is your team. This is the team that pays you. You have to get healthy. So the broadcast said the 6th at 3 p.m. So right now it looks like it's in a couple days at 3 p.m. So we'll see. I don't know. We will see if anything changes. There's definitely a lot of names. Obviously, Panarin's the big one, not being played by the Rangers just because they plan on trading him. They don't plan on playing at all, up until we'll see what happens after the Olympics if they get something done. But I have to imagine he's going to fetch a pretty big return. There are a lot of other names out there. You think about the Predators, say names that they get thrown out there are former Sabre Ryan O'Reilly, Steven Stamkos, Eric Holla, Michael Bunting. Given the way that you obviously saw Barry Trotz, step away from as step down as GM. And the owner flat out said they are not against considering a rebuild. And if that's the case, you have a lot of high paid players who are by and far outperforming their current contracts. And Stamkos is definitely, I wouldn't say outperforming his contract. He's getting paid a lot of money, but he's having a great season compared to last year. Maybe he's a guy that might get moved. Michael Bunting's definitely an interesting name. Eric Holla always seems to be a guy that's involved in some type of trade discussions, every couple years. Kind of a suitcase, in my opinion. And then again, like we said, there's Philip Forsberg on that team. I don't think he's going anywhere. He just signed a very long-term deal. You have, like I said, Ryan O'Reilly. I'm not sure if he's heading into a UFA year or not, or what's the deal with his contract. But a guy who is fantastic on faceoffs, really, really good on faceoffs. I look at guys like Boone Jenner out of Columbus. Columbus, a team that's probably on the verge of a rebuild, and a guy who has an over 50% faceoff percentage for his career. That's something Buffalo could really, really, really use. Really use. I love Boone Jenner. He's built for the playoffs. He knows what it takes to get to the playoffs, to play in the playoffs. He's part of that Columbus team that, where Jarmo Kekalainen, opted out of trading Bobrovsky and Panarin, and they swept the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. And then I think was it Boston? They took Boston, who I think, did Boston win the cup that year? I can't remember. No, they didn't. No, they didn't win the cup. I forget who won the cup that year. No, it wasn't Boston. Boston hasn't won the cup in quite some time. I forgot who won the cup that year, but they took him to 6 games. Who was it? Oh, they might have went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston might have went to the Eastern Conference Finals that year, or maybe they did go to the finals. I can't remember. But regardless, Columbus took him to 6 games. And again, Boone Jenner was a huge, huge part of that. He's a big guy. He's not afraid. He'll throw the body around. He's a natural born leader. He'll drop the gloves if you need to. He'll stick it for teammates. And again, a good, solid middle 6 centerman who can, go out there, bang the body, win faceoffs, can play up and down your lineup. I would love to see Jarmo go after Boone Jenner. And there's a connection there. There's already a connection there. He's 32 years old. I don't know the status of his contract, if he's going to be a UFA or not, but that's a guy who I think you can go after. It might not cost you an arm and a leg to get him. You'd probably have to overpay a little bit, but definitely worth bringing him in. No doubt about it. So, did you see TSN say the Preds should hire Adams to the G? Oh my God. Yeah, I saw that. Have fun. See ya. Have fun. Hire him. So, bro, are you already asleep? No, I'm not asleep. I have been up all day, since 5 this morning. So, but I had to make sure I had to tap in here for the post-game show. I appreciate the hell out of you all joining me. So, but again, remember, if you have enjoyed this, your audio only, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, like I see a lot of you are right now, please make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell icon so you know when we go live, and hit the like button. Please hit the like button right now. While you're all on with me, hit that like button. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way for the show. So one more game until the Olympics. I think it is the last home game at least. Let me double check to make sure. I'm pretty sure that is the last game before the Olympic break. Correct? Yep. After Thursday, the next Sabres game won't be until February 25th against the Devils, and then the 27th against the Panthers in Florida again. So another little trip to the Sunbelt upcoming after they get back from the Olympics, and they play the Tampa Bay Lightning again in Tampa. So that'll be fun. Another little road trip right after they have their road trip to Tampa. So I'll talk to you guys later. And as always, yeah, hey, I gave you 11 extra minutes, not just 5, buddy. Don't, just kidding, guys. I love you all. You're the reason I do this show. You're the reason I stay up late when I should be in bed. And we'll talk to you guys later. As always, go Sabres.